Welcome to our 12-week book year discussion. Hopefully you're able to join me on live. I did put the link on Zoom, so hopefully you're able to join. But we're going to get started. We don't have a lot of time. This is set aside for 30 minutes, and so hopefully you'll be able to get some things out of this. So this is the first week. We're going to do it for 5 weeks. Although the book is for 12, the goal is to get you set up and moving forward in those goals, and then you'll be able to complete it throughout the 12 week. So if you have the book, that's great. If you don't, that's okay. You need to get it ordered or listen to it on Audible. It will just help you as you fine-tune what you're going to do with your goals. So we're going to start out, and one of the things I want to encourage you to do is to have a SMART goal. So a SMART is an acronym. So the S is specific, so a very specific goal. This last Friday, I said to think of 1 or 2 goals that you want to set for the 12 weeks. So S, very specific. M is measurable. We have to see if the needle moves. So it can't be just a generic goal. So it has to be specific and it has to be measurable, something that we can actually measure. The A, so SMA, A is achievable. I cannot say in 12 weeks I want to have $1 million in the bank. That is a great goal. It definitely is specific and you can definitely measure, but achievable, not so sure that that's achievable right this moment. The R is relevant. So it needs to be something that is relevant to what you're doing in your life at this moment. And the T is time bound. So, and that's where the 12 weeks comes in, because it's time bound for 12 weeks. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about those goals. I want to give you an example of someone that did set a goal and how they went about, because we have to be very specific on how we're going to do it. So her goal was to have 10,000 followers on her YouTube channel. Okay, so that was a very specific goal. 10,000 followers on her YouTube channel. Is it measurable? Yes. If you have 10,000, you've made it. If you don't have 10,000, you're still short. Is it achievable? Yes. She already had a following, and so this gave her more followings. She knew that if she did certain things that she would be able to increase her viewer base. Relevant. It is relevant to her. She sells an online course. So being able to have YouTube followers, that gives her people that she can then market to. So it is very relevant for what she's trying to accomplish. And T, time limit, yes. So she had 12 weeks. And I will tell you that she did accomplish it. So it fit all of those boxes. So I want you to think about what goals you set. And remember, it's only 1 or 2 goals that you set for the next 12 weeks. And these need to be big goals. These need to be goals that you can actually see if you have moved the needle, if you've been able to make that progress, if you've been able to go up a level by completing this. So I really want you to think about what your goal is. Think about what you're doing in your life right now, what it is that you would like to accomplish, and how can you go about doing that. We're going to talk about some very specific ways to do this. Now, this is looking like a Facebook Live, and I am not seeing the Zoom. Give me just one moment and see if I can't get the Zoom to come in. that needs to be one of my goals, is to really understand how to get the Zoom into my lives. I don't have the answer to that. If you're watching this and you have the answer, I'd certainly appreciate it. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and keep moving forward because I don't want to waste your time, but I will definitely work on getting that Zoom set up. I have a couple of different people that I can call upon their technology and their use of it. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. So you have the book, the 12-week year, and I just want to talk a little bit about, in the beginning, how it helps us to achieve those goals. So remember, you're smart. So I want you to think about what kind of goal you're going to set. Now, as we're talking about goals, the main reason that this book works, first off, is the 12-week year, is because if you think about goal setting, you think about most people at the first of the year in January say, okay, I'm going to set a goal. And this is a goal that they plan to maintain, throughout the year. And a lot of businesses fall into this trap. And so I think this is one reason why it works so well for us that are entrepreneurs. So what happens is you kind of go along, you're doing things are getting better, you hit a couple dips here and there, but you always know that December 31st is the end. So that's the end. And so especially with businesses, what they'll do is they will, set these goals and you'll work on them, but you always know that in the back of your mind you still have time. And it isn't until about September or October, especially within a corporation, that they really, really start to push, because they know they have 3 months left before the end of the year. And so they start pushing that and saying, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to meet this year-end goal? And they have 3 months. So that's where this concept is rather than looking at it as we have 52 weeks to get this done, we actually have 12. And what that does is that's going to push you from going from I can do this later, or I can wait until tomorrow, or I can do it next week. Every day is significant. Every day makes a difference whether or not you're moving toward your goal. You don't have days that you can say, I'm not going to do it, because you don't have the luxury of that time. And so that's one of the things that they really stress in this book, is that you don't have the time. You have to always be having action. So as you're thinking about your goals, I really want you to think about, okay, what it is do I want to achieve? And then we're going to back engineer it. So this lady that wanted 10,000 viewers on her YouTube page, how did she back engineer it? Well, she had to figure out what drives people to a YouTube page. And then she had to understand all of the algorithms and the information that is coming out to move those viewers from wherever they are to her page. And so you need to think about what is my end goal, and what do I need to do to get to that. That is going to require you to really think about it. And also, I say, talk with people. Tell people, this is what I want to do. I want to achieve this. I want to have 10,000 viewers on my YouTube page. What do I need to do to get to that? And how can I do that? And is there a way that you can help me? I'm always about talking with people and understanding what their skill set is and how we can work together. I have a certain skill set. Other people have certain skill sets. And the main thing is that synergy of us all working together are able to come up with what is going to make this work. So don't feel intimidated or embarrassed to talk to someone about your goal. Now, word of warning, be careful who you talk to your goals about. You want to make sure that you talk to someone that is on your team and is your cheerleader. So that is going to be something that you're going to want to watch for, so that you can really have the people on your team that are going to have your back and that are going to be there for you. And you know who they are. So I would suggest, when you get ready to who you're going to bounce things off of, ask your gut, is this a good person to talk to about this? And really listen to that. Because sometimes we want people to be in our circle, we want them to be part, but they're really not supposed to be there at that time. Maybe they will at a different time, or maybe they were before, but just make sure before you invite them into your circle. So there is an emotional connection that goes on with setting these goals. And sometimes we have to be careful when we set a goal, because we're going to have, I call them they're the little dot people in my head. So they're not physical people, but they're just kind of made of dots, kind of like a stick figure, but they're just made up of dots, and they're the negative people that tell me the things I can't do and the reasons why I can't do it. That's the big thing, is we can tell ourselves, oh, we can't do that. And we can listen to the reasons why we can't do it. And those reasons are not valid, 100% not valid, because everything is possible. You can create the life that you want, and you can achieve the things that you want to achieve. No one can take that from you. One of the things that I talked about in the very beginning, when we were just talking about doing this book, was accountability. And I wanted to make sure that you understand that this is not accountability as in me saying to you, did you do this? You are not accountable to me. In fact, you're not accountable to anyone. When it comes to this goal that you are working on, the person that you're accountable to is you, because only you can do this. Only you can accomplish this goal that you want to do. You are the only one. If you wanted to have 10,000 followers on YouTube, you are the only one that could initiate those conversations with people that have that expertise, that can give you some guidance. No one else is going to initiate those conversations for you. You have to do it. So that's very important that you understand that accountability, especially in this realm that we're talking about, is only your own accountability. And quite honestly, the hardest thing to be accountable to is yourself. We will be accountable to other people. We will do things for other people, but we will sell ourselves short. Part of that is overcoming that. This is one of the things that the book will help you do this. It says in here, the greatest predictor of your future are daily actions. If you've remembered, I've talked about the power of one. Do one thing every day. It's our daily actions that are going to make a difference as to whether or not we actually are going to move that needle forward. So one of the things that they talk about in the book is the emotional, hopefully I can find that chart quickly, is the emotional that goes along with with setting the goals and working on them. Because we do go through this kind of up and down. So the very beginning, we're super excited. We're like, okay, I am going to get 10,000 followers on my YouTube channel. So that is the very first, as you have this excitement, and that's kind of the up. But then you have the reality of the work that it's going to take to get 10,000 followers. It just doesn't happen. You're going to have to work. And so you start out here, you're kind of uninformed, but you're excited about it. Then you go into phase 2. And what phase 2 is that's when you are informed, when you realize this is what I'm going to need to do. And there's some pessimism that comes in there. Like, I don't want to do that. That's too much work. I don't have the time. We start to create all these excuses of why we cannot accomplish it. And then we actually go a little bit further down into the valley of despair. And that's where we're like, we just can't do this. It's just too big. The goal was too big. I should have picked something more achievable. And we do this to ourselves. And this is the make or break point. So we start out, we have a little bit of a dip, we get to the bottom. And the bottom is, I don't know, I don't think I can do this. We're in the valley of despair. This is your make or break point. You can either say, I am going to do this. It is completely doable. I am an intelligent person. I know what I need to do. And if I don't know exactly what that is, I know who to talk to. And so what that does is that pushes us back up. And it pushes us up into informed optimism. Because now we're like, we know what it's going to take. We know what we need to do. We know who to talk to. We know the steps that we need to do. And then the final phase is the success and the fulfillment. So the bottom, the valley of despair, that's where you have to choose. Am I going to push forward or am I going to back up? I am going to encourage you to push forward. That's what this group is for. We are all reading the same book. We're all getting the same information, but we all have different goals. So next week when we meet, so this week you are to come up with your goal, 1 or 2 goals with some very specific actions. I want you to write down those actions. What are you going to do to move this forward? And when we meet next week, I will have the Zoom up so that we can converse with one another and talk. And we're going to see where are some stumbling blocks. So be prepared to say, I have a stumbling block. A stumbling block could be, I don't know YouTube. I have no idea how to get past this. How do I go to 10,000 followers? There will be someone in our group that will know how to do that. And if they don't have personal knowledge of how to do it, they know someone who knows how to do it. Which is going to be one of the books that I want to do after we get done with this one, is Who Not How. It's a very important book to know who can do it. You don't need to know how to do it. So this is a very good precursor to this. So I want you to set your goals. I want you to do it in a process of using some vision. This is going to require you to sit, be still, no interruptions, no text, no phone, no music, no children, no spouse. 15 minutes of you just to sit. And I want you to think about your loftiest goal, your aspiration in the next 10 years. Where do you want to be in 10 years? So I want you to think about that. What does that look like? Where am I living? What am I doing? What are my priorities? What does my day look like? 10 years. Spend a few minutes on that. Then I want you to come down to 5 years. What does that look in 5 years? So now we're dialing in a little bit more on that vision. Where am I living? What am I doing? How do I spend my time? Who do I spend my time with? 3 years. Okay, so I want you to come, you're going to do 10, you're going to do 5, then you're going to go to 3. 3 years. Where do I want to be in 3 years? Where do I live? What kind of money do I make? What kind of car do I drive? In my case, how many grandchildren do I have? You want to look at those things and kind of envision, what does my house look like? And it doesn't all have to be material things. What do I do in my spare time? Who do I spend my time with? What do I spend my disposable income on? Do I buy things for others? Do I make a contribution to a charity? Do I donate my time to a charity? What are the things in 3 years that you are doing? And then I want you to come down even further. And this is like the last 5 minutes. And I want you to think about now. What do I need to do now to get to where I want to be in 3 years? What is it? What are some of the things that I need to do? And if you will take the time to be still and listen, those thoughts will come to you. What you need to do now, because everything that we do has a ripple effect. I know that you've thrown a stone in a pond and you've seen the ripples go out. There's a couple of movies that are set up on that where, one event happens and all these different things happen because of it. So what I want you to do is really think about what is the one thing that I can focus on for 3 months that's going to move me closer to where I want my life to be in 3 years. Because what we're going to do by learning this and doing this together, we're going to have 3 months and then we're going to do it again. And so if you think about it, in a year, you'll be able to accomplish 4 major goals. 4 major goals. How much closer does that make you to your goal for your 3 years? So much closer. So I want to be aware of your time. I've given you a couple of ideas to help you to get those goals and to start writing them down. I want you to remember that we are a team, that we are doing this together. We've all signed up and we've all agreed to do this, and we really do want to be there for each other. So it's important that you work on your goals, that you think about them, and you start to write down your action plan. And the action plan is going to be very, very important because it's how you're going to execute what you're going to do. Okay. So there are 3 principles that I just want to review before our time is up that comes with setting up these goals. 1, we've talked about is accountability. That is complete ownership of you. You are doing this. You are the one that is making the decisions to move your goals forward. Number 2 is your commitment. A commitment is a personal promise you make to yourself. It is so easy to make commitments to others and not to ourselves. But I want to challenge you to commit to keep your commitment to yourself. It will help with your self-esteem. It will help you know that what you say is true, because you know that if you say it, that's what you're going to do. And so it's very important that you think about that. And then the number 3rd thing is to enjoy the greatness in the moment. So you've already said, I'm going to be completely accountable for what I'm doing. I'm going to take complete ownership. I am going to do this. Number 2, you actually do it. You keep your word to yourself. You get up early and exercise, or you work toward getting those 10,000 subscribers, or you start writing that book, whatever it is. And then take just a few moments and enjoy the greatness in that moment after you've completed it. After you've written that first outline for your first chapter of your book, enjoy that. Let that dopamine hit you. Yes, I did this. I said I was going to do it, and I did it. So that is for today, our 12-week year. Hopefully you were able to get the workbook. Please start working on your goals, and I will see you next Monday at 4 o'clock. Have a glorious week, and if you need to get a hold of me in the meantime, please do.